Well, would you look at that? The Powerpuff Girls are finally getting new powers. And this is in no way indicative of a certain corporation wanting to make money. Nope, what would ever make you think that? I kid. But in all seriousness, the Green Lantern-like powers aren't that bad in my opinion. Each girl creates different things based on their personalities, and aside from Blossom, they're reflected pretty well off of what the original characters would be expected to do. Buttercup chooses more destructive items while Bubbles focuses on cute little animals. It's sort of like that sequence in Him Diddle Riddle where each girl had to take down a monster in a different way without using their powers. The girls are tuning into a local food channel which is airing a show called Sliced. One of the chefs uses science to turn his pigs in a blanket into a giant monster, and the girls go to save the day. At first they struggle to find any way to do harm to the beast, but Buttercup manages to get angry enough to the point that she discovers a new power. Bubbles doesn't take long to follow suit, but Blossom fails to find a way to unlock her special abilities. And get this, her sisters, believe it or not, actually saved the day by defeating the pig monster. However, since Blossom didn't get her powers, she starts to worry about not earning them herself. Thankfully, her sisters are actually sympathetic towards Blossom and try to cheer her up when they're back home. Even the professor comes by to attempt to cheer her up, though it doesn't exactly work out. The more I see the professor, the more I realize his character has been flanderized even worse than the girls. He's no longer knowledgeable, he's no longer sympathetic, and he's no longer interesting. I mean, sure, he still cares for them and we see that, but his fatherly role has been toned down so much that he no longer acts as a role model for them. At school the next day, Buttercup and Bubbles are showing off their new powers to the other students, and a few decide to ask Blossom to demonstrate them as well. Her sisters come in to back her up, but they're pretty aggressive about it. Like, there's really no need for them to be that fierce when the kids really never did anything wrong in the first place. Blossom starts to feel really bad about not having the powers herself, so she goes home alone in the rain.
I walk this empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams.
Her sisters try to cheer her up by getting her to watch Sliced again, so they do just that.
Chef Schnitzel is back?
He creates another food monster that goes out and attacks Townsville, and the girls leave without Blossom to go stop it. Buttercup and Bubbles begin to fight the monster, trying various things in order to bring it down. One thing I noticed with this particular fight is that the monster keeps changing designs. Sometimes he will have regular eyes, and other times he will have one singular eye in the shape of an olive. Guess the animators couldn't decide which one they liked more, huh? The monster gets the best of them, rather easily I might add, and Blossom witnesses all of this live on television. She remembers that she's the leader and that only she can help them. She arrives and gets so frustrated by the mess that she earns her powers that way, similar to how Buttercup earned hers through anger and frustration as well. This causes another fight to ensue between Blossom and the Meatloaf monster. She can't seem to stop it alone, so all three of the girls work together using their new powers in order to defeat the monster. They succeed and the story draws to a close. So let's start with the good. This episode had a legit monster fight that lasted more than 10 seconds. The new powers are fine in my book. Yeah, they seem to have been included to sell toys, but they don't take away from the episode. The pacing also seems to be alright because we never spent too much time on one thing and we never really rushed through one thing either. Now for the bad. Blossom's obsession with cleanliness and organization was played way too much. The only thing she ever talked about throughout this entire episode involved it in some way, shape, or form. This isn't a trait she needs to have to be different from the other two. If she were more level-headed and like a leader, such as in the original, she would be a much better developed character. And last but not least, seriously, why wasn't this guy arrested? Overall, it had a few good moments, but it's nothing special.
Would you?